Hello students, in this video lecture I will be talking about the anti-anginal drugs, and before discussing into the detail of anti-anginal drugs I would like to mention to define the angina and their types, and while defining their types I would like to mention some clinopathological technical words that used in case of angina. So starting from the defining it, actually the supply of blood to the heart myocardium get diminished in case of angina. Like we have already discussed previously, in case of congestive heart failure the cardiac output was less, and that decreased cardiac output was not fulfilling the metabolic demand of the body. But in case of angina, the blood supply to the heart myocardium itself will be diminished, and these are the various cases that what are the condition, what can be the situation through which the heart supply to the heart myocardium will be diminished. One by one we will discuss. Let's suppose this is your right atrium and this is your left ventricle, and here I represented this black color thick area is a heart left ventricle myocardium, and this myocardium having the supply of blood through this red color coronary artery to this myocardium. It means all the nutrients and the energy requirement to this myocardium is fulfilled by the coming blood through this coronary artery. Now in case of angina pectoris, there may be chances that, as we know, the angina pectoris is a kind of ischemic heart disease. So the ischemia is basically based on the deposition of plaque in the coronary artery, because as soon there will be deposition of plaque in the forward area, there will be decreased supply of the blood, and this decreased supply of the blood will affect the vulnerable this part of the myocardium which was getting earlier nutrient from this. Due to, again repeating it, due to this deposition of plaque there will be decreased supply of blood in the forward area, so that due to decreased supply in this forward area there will be this myocardium will be affected, and once this myocardium start affecting by this decreased supply, whole this ventricular capacity of this myocardial chamber will also affected, that results in the decreased cardiac output and also results in their symptom of angina. As we have discussed, due to this decreased supply, the heart ventricles try to overcome from this situation, and the heart's contracting so hardly and beats very fastly, so that the decreased cardiac output should be maintained. Apart from this, apart from defining this type, we can also define the angina pectoris. Like, as we have already discussed, there is decreased supply of blood due to deposition of plaque. It means we can say in another word, there is also decreased supply of oxygen, because blood carrying oxygen, and there will be decreased supply of oxygen, and this decreased supply of oxygen, due to this decreased supply, this myocardium will be affected. So there are various ways through which the angina pectoris can be defined. In one way, angina pectoris can be defined as in this angina pectoris there will be less supply of the blood to the heart myocardium. Basically, in the most of the time there will be involvement of the left ventricle, and this less supply of the blood is to the heart myocardium, resulting in the less supply of oxygen as well. So in some time we study, the angina pectoris is actually the imbalance between the supply of oxygen and the demand of oxygen to the heart myocardium. Based on the physiology of this plaque, the division of angina pectoris is actually, so later on we will discuss about this. After we have already defined the definition, now we will talk about the symptom. As we have discussed, there is less supply of blood, and heart anyhow try to compensate with this less supply, so it increases the heart rate and increase there the force of contraction. By increasing the force of contraction and the heart rate, it is responsible for exerting like feeling of discomfort in the chest, or it the person will feel like the heaviness on the chest, tightness of the chest, squeezing of the chest, and in this condition pain also generated that may be radiated through the neck, jaw, arm and their shoulder. So these are the symptoms of angina pectoris. Now we will talk about the various types of angina. In the first diagram, it is representing, this is black color, this is myocardium, and this red color is a coronary artery. That's coronary artery supplying the blood to this myocardium. Look here in this diagram, this from where the bifurcation of the coronary artery starts, there is a occlusion of this plaque, but this plaque is only occluding the 10% internal diameter of coronary artery. It means the 90% remaining part of this coronary artery is allowing the blood flow from backward area to the forward area. So in this kind of angina pectoris, the one main feature is that whatever the plaque will be there, that plaque will not be physiologically active. It means this plaque gradually will not increase their size. It means we say this plaque is actually stable plaque, and this stable plaque with occluding only 10% diameter, angina pectoris is categorized, and we say this kind of angina pectoris is actually stable angina. Stable angina pectoris, also be known as stable angina or as classical angina. So what we have studied up to now, we have studied the angina pectoris. There are many types of angina pectoris. In one type, the occluding thing is a plaque, and that plaque is a characteristic of that plaque is a stable in nature. It means that plaque is not fissuring, or it is not going into the growing stage. So because of its nature, as the plaque is stable, here the plaque is stable and that only occluding the 10%, this characteristic is of stable angina. In this case, because the 90% part is still allowing blood flow to the forward area, in this type of angina pectoris, person during rest does not feel any kind of effect, or you can say the pain in the chest area, but as soon as it starts exertion or any physical activity, due to the physical activity, this myocardium needs to be the more blood supplied by this coronary artery, but due to this plaque, the coronary artery, due to this nature of plaque that is stable in nature, it is fixed, only the 90% part will be allowed, but during the exertion this myocardium is expecting for more blood to come in this area, but due to this plaque, blood will not supply to the forward area. We are talking about in case of exertion or heavy physical activity. So I mean to say that during the rest there will not be any kind of symptom, because already for the myocardium requires less supply of energy. This requires less need of energy, but as soon this person start exerting, the demand of myocardium will become high, but due to this fixed plaque, that demand will not be fulfilled and there will be occurrence of symptoms. This is stable type of angina. Because the plaque is stable, that's why we say this is stable or classical angina. Now we will type another type. In this case, the deposition of plaque covers the part 60 to 70%. In this, the difference from the initial one is that was stable is the area Here the area was 10% only, and here I'm talking about the area covered by this plaque is 60 to 70%. So in this type, the one difference is the area covered by the plaque, and another, the main difference is that whatever the plaque will be in this type of angina, that plaque will be dynamic in nature. That plaque will be dynamic in nature. It means this plaque having characteristic that it can attract the more platelet to come over here, and as soon as gradually this will attract the more platelet to come over here, there may be chances that may occlude the 100% internal diameter of this coronary vessels. So this is the more dangerous condition in comparison to this stable angina, because in this nature the nature of the plaque is not fixed because it is growing. That's why we say this type of angina is unstable angina. Unstable angina. So this is unstable angina. Here during the rest symptom will not be occurring, but in case of this type of angina, symptom also occurs during the rest. Because, and the one more feature here, the depositing plaque is dynamic in nature. It means it is growing. Now we will talk about the, let me recap it first. Why we are calling unstable? Because plaque is unstable. Now come to the third one. In this condition, we will not talk about any kind of plaque deposition. Here we will say the local mediating factor, or we can say the local mediators are responsible for, this is the normal coronary vessels coming down, and once you can see here, there is like this is coronary artery, and coronary artery once come down, eventually it combines it here, the tone of this coronary vessels in such a way so that it now stick to each other. So once they are stick to each other, in the forward area there will be totally 100% blockage of supply of the blood. So this is the maximum dangerous stage, or you can say the maximum dangerous type of angina pectoris, due to the vasospasticity in the coronary vessels of the coronary vessels, right? Now this kind of angina is known as, variant angina, or it is known as Prinzmetal angina, or this is also known as vasospastic angina. Vasospastic angina. So some of the students get confused, sir, why the name of this angina is a Prinzmetal angina, and why we are calling is the variant angina. Vasospasticity is clear now, because due to the nature of coronary vessel that is stick to each other, and that's why we are calling vasospastic angina. Actually the Prinzmetal was a scientist who actually discovered that apart from this stable angina, because here we were talking about the plaque, here we will not talk about any kind of plaque. So the scientist Prinzmetal and his friends suggested that another variant, मतलब इसके अलावा भी कोई एक टाइप का एंजाइना पेक्टोरिस होता है, तो another variant, इस वजह से उसको क्या बोला गया, वेरिएंट टाइप ऑफ एंजाइना. चूंकि साइंटिस्ट का नाम है, दिस इज Prinzmetal एंजाइना, और ये वैसोस्पास्टिक नेचर की वजह से. सो नाउ वी हैव डिस्कस्ड द ऑल टाइप्स ऑफ एंजाइना इन डिटेल. The one very interesting thing is that here I would like to mention is that a term which is subendocardial crunch that used in case of stable angina. So from this diagram I would like to discuss this term subendocardial crunch. The subendocardial crunch is like we have already discussed, right atrium supplying blood to the right ventricle. This is the myocardium thick area, and as we are talking about the stable angina, so there will be 10% occlusion of this plaque, this coronary vessels, less supply in the forward area. In the rest there will not be any kind of symptom. But when we will talk about the physical exertion, यहां पे इसके अलावा पहले दो चीजें और क्लियर कर लीजिए आप. देखिए, in the whole body the blood is supplied when the heart is in a stage of systole, means heart में systole की condition होगी, then the blood will move in the forward in the whole body. But a single chamber which is a left ventricular, in this area the condition is that once it starts contracting due to the contraction of this left ventricle, there will be due to the contraction of this ventricle there will be a force that is generating here, will squeeze these coronary vessels. And once the coronary vessels squeezes, because कुछ बच्चे ये भी कह सकते हैं सर ये राइट वेंट्रिकल में भी हो सकता है, सॉरी दिस इज लेफ्ट एट्रियम एंड दिस इज लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल. राइट एट्रियम और राइट वेंट्रिकल में भी हो सकता है, लेकिन राइट वेंट्रिकल में जो प्रेशर होता है दैट इज ओनली 0 to 5 mmHg, और यहां पे हम बात करते हैं अप टू 120 mmHg मैक्सिमम प्रेशर, दैट इज सिस्टोलिक बीपी 120 mmHg. तो विद 120 mm of Hg, when it contract, due to the contraction this blood vessels is not, due to the squeezing of this blood coronary vessels in the forward area there will not be any supply of any blood. means सिस्टोल में खुद हार्ट की जो वेंट्रिकल है, मेनली कौन, लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल, उसको ब्लड की सप्लाई नहीं होगी. और डायस्टोल की अगर बात करें, क्योंकि यहां पे ऑलरेडी हमारा प्लेक डिपॉजिट हो चुका है, राइट, जब प्लेक डिपॉजिट हो चुका है और ये मायोकार्डियम में सफिशिएंट अमाउंट ऑफ, ड्यूरिंग एक्सर्शन की अगर बात करते हैं तो सफिशिएंट अमाउंट ऑफ ब्लड न्यूट्रिएंट की सप्लाई इस पार्ट में नहीं हो रही है, ये मायोकार्डियम की धीरे धीरे क्या होगी, वीक होगी. और जब वीक होगी तो प्रॉपर वो कॉन्ट्रैक्शन नहीं कर पाएगी. जब कॉन्ट्रैक्शन नहीं कर पाएगी तो यहां पे धीरे धीरे क्या बढ़ेगा, एंड डायस्टोलिक वॉल्यूम. जब प्रॉपर कॉन्ट्रैक्शन नहीं करेगी, कार्डियक आउटपुट नहीं होगा, इजेक्शन नहीं होगा, ईडीवी रेज होगा. और वंस द ईडीवी रेज्ड ड्यू टू दिस occlusion from 5 to 25 mmHg, 5 to 25 mmHg only, because we are talking about only 10% occlusion. That's why I am saying 5 to 25 mmHg. जब ये 5 mmHg से बढ़ जाएगा 25 mmHg तक, तो ऑलरेडी यहां पर जो सिस्टोल में तो सप्लाई होगी नहीं, सिस्टोल में 120 तक प्रेशर जाएगा, स्क्वीज हो जाएगी, आगे फॉरवर्ड एरिया में ब्लड नहीं जाएगा. लेकिन जब हम बात करेंगे डायस्टोल की, तो डायस्टोल में यहां पे नॉर्मली ईडीवी बढ़ने की वजह से, क्योंकि प्रॉपर कॉन्ट्रैक्शन नहीं हो रहा, ब्लड इजेक्ट नहीं हो रहा, धीरे धीरे क्या हो रहा है, डिपॉजिट हो रहा है, तो 5 से 25 mmHg ईडीवी होने की वजह से यहां पे एट द डायस्टोल इवन यहां पे प्रेशर लगेगा. एंड दैट प्रेशर दैट एक्सर्ट फ्रॉम इनवर्ड टू आउटवर्ड इन द लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल ड्यूरिंग द डायस्टोल इज नोन एज subendocardial crunch. Why the name it is subendocardial? Because in this endocardium there will be already present blood, and it is believed that this blood supplies the nutrient to this inner myocardium, but just myocardium present in this area, it means just near to this, like this is endocardium, and we are talking about what? We are talking about subendocardium, means this area, this subendocardium area. What we have discussed, this endocardium area get the nutrient from already filled blood here in the chamber, but this subendocardium area does not take the blood even in diastole, because already the pressure has been increased from 5 to 25 mmHg due to increased EDV. Let me have a recap it. लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल में प्लेक की वजह से, अगेन आई एम ड्राइंग दिस डायग्राम so that you will better understand. I hope now it is clear. Stable, unstable and fringe metal, vasospastic or variant angina. Now we have only discussed the subendocardial crunch. Like this is left atrium and this is left ventricle, and this is left ventricular myocardium. There will be supply of blood in this area, right? Look, due to the deposition of plaque here, we are discussing stable angina because there is a term subendocardial crunch. So I am explaining what is subendocardial crunch. Normally we know when the heart systole occurs, there will be supply of blood to the whole body. Supply of blood to the whole body. But the condition is different from ventricle, because in the ventricle there is a maximum pressure of 120 mm Hg, and when this pressure occurs in 120 mm Hg here, this part of the myocardium, this muscle of the myocardium is squeezed with this pressure, and due to the squeezing this whole myocardium, this coronary vessels also squeezes. सो जब स्क्वीज होगी तो ब्लड की सप्लाई फॉरवर्ड एरिया में नहीं हो पाएगी. तो हम इस केस में कहते हैं कि लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकुलर, केवल बॉडी में लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकुलर ही ऐसा, लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल का मायोकार्डियम ऐसा पार्ट है जिसमें डायस्टोल के समय, जब ये डायस्टोल होगी, वेंट्रिकल का डायस्टोल होगा, उस समय न्यूट्रिएंट की सप्लाई होगी. लेकिन चूंकि इस प्लेग की वजह से ब्लड सप्लाई ऑलरेडी कम है, और जब आप एक्सर्शन करते हैं तो आपकी इस मायोकार्डियम को डिमांड ज्यादा होती है. तो जब इस प्लेग की वजह से डिमांड ज्यादा है तो हमारा ऑलरेडी यहां पे प्लेग की वजह से डिमांड इसकी फुलफिल नहीं हो पाएगी. तो यहां जो प्रेशर एंड डायस्टोलिक वॉल्यूम जो बना के रखता है वो 5 mmHg है. बट ड्यू टू दिस प्लेग इसकी डिमांड बढ़ गई, और इसकी डिमांड बढ़ने की वजह से यहां पे अब जो प्रेशर जनरेट होगा वो 25 mmHg. किसकी वजह से? एंड डायस्टोलिक वॉल्यूम की वजह से, क्योंकि मायोकार्डियम में वो फोर्स नहीं रह गया जो ब्लड को पूरा फोर्सली बाहर की तरफ इजेक्ट कर पाए, क्योंकि ये प्लेग यहां पे आ गया है एक्सर्शन के टाइम पे. तो यहां का जब पूरा कार्डियक आउटपुट बाहर नहीं निकल पाएगा तो ब्लड का धीरे धीरे क्या होगा? डेपोजिशन. तो हमें बोलेंगे कि जो 5 mmHg था वो प्रेशर कितना हो गया? 25 mmHg. जब ये 25 mmHg हो गया तो डायस्टोल में 25 mmHg ये जो ब्लड है प्रेशर किधर डाल रहा है ड्यूरिंग द डायस्टोल? फ्रॉम इनसाइड टू आउटसाइड. फ्रॉम इनसाइड टू आउटसाइड डाल रहा है. तो हम ये मान के चलते हैं कि टू द दिस ब्लैक कलर लाइन इज एंडोकार्डियम. तो एंडोकार्डियम में ब्लड के न्यूट्रिएंट की सप्लाई तो हो जाएगी बिकॉज देयर इज अ प्रेजेंस ऑफ ब्लड. बट जस्ट बिलो टू दिस एरिया, दिस हियर आई विल रिप्रेजेंट फ्रॉम द ब्लू लाइन, in this area there will not be supply of the blood even in diastole, because even in diastole there will not be supply of blood. So when there will not be supply of any blood here due to this सिस्टोल में तो ऑलरेडी नहीं जा रहा, डायस्टोल में भी नहीं जा पाएगा, तो इसको हम बोलते हैं देयर विल बी अ क्रंच स्टेज. That crunch is known as subendocardial crunch. Even in diastole में इस subendocardium पार्ट में ब्लड नहीं जा पाएगा. इसको हम एंडोकार्डियल क्रंच क्यों नहीं बोल रहे? क्योंकि एंडोकार्डियल में हम मान के चल रहे हैं कि जो लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल में ब्लड है EDV, वो EDV से उसको न्यूट्रिएंट मिल जा रहे हैं, लेकिन सब एंडोकार्डियल रीजन में वो नहीं मिल रहा है. इसलिए इन केस ऑफ स्टेबल एंजाइमा द मेनली देयर विल बी द clinical term that we use, there will be occurrence of subendocardial crunch during the diastole. I think we all have discussed about the anti-anginal drug. So in today's video we have discussed the we have already clear cut defined the what is angina, what are their types, like we have discussed the stable, unstable, and third one like pharyngeal variant or vasospastic angina, and at last we have a clear concept about the subendocardial crunch in the stable angina. Thank you very much.